That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. If you thought you just saw me, you're right. We just got done with the radio show, and we did the morning radio show, and I said we're going to end at 11 so we can get over to Marcus Freeman's press conference. See what Marcus has to say. Turns out, worst case scenario. So welcome in, welcome back, folks. Round 2 of Notre Dame misery. Welcome in. So that's the news. Wasn't planning on doing 2 shows today. So welcome in, welcome back. I do not have the phone line set up. One of those is good enough. But if you're here and you haven't been here yet, subscribe, video, thumbs up, give it one. Notifications on. You'll be alerted every time new Notre Dame information drops like this. Twitter, search bar Always Irish, or at Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Call-in line 312-900-8815. You already missed it. The first call-in show was earlier today. Folks, this is 100% the worst case scenario. There isn't one worse than this. This is the worst case outcome you could have right now. And we talked about it in the summer. And I said in the summer, for Notre Dame to accomplish any of their goals this year, any of them, Notre Dame had to have Tyler Buchner stay healthy and be good all year. Not one or the other, both. Needed to be healthy and good all year for Notre Dame to accomplish their goals. That's out. That's not going to happen. And it's brutal. It's absolutely freaking brutal. It's brutal. I said all summer, Notre Dame could not afford to get through another football season and not know exactly what you had in Tyler Buchner and what he could be. You could not afford to go through a whole nother year with that question and another year kicking that development down the road. You couldn't. It's the one thing Notre Dame couldn't afford right now is this. It's it. This is it. It's brutal. It's brutal. I remember sitting here in the summer and saying on this show, the number one thing that's going to derail Notre Dame's development this year of where they want to go is Tyler Buchner getting injured and missing a big chunk of the year. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Here's the other thing. The other thing is, Freeman sounds down, you guys. Freeman sounds down and out. Freeman sounded down and out in the presser yesterday and the one after the game. And he sounds down and out right now for sure. Down and out. And here's the thing, folks. I feel so horrible for Tyler Buchner. I feel terrible. Think about Tyler Buchner. Lost a year to injury in high school. Then you got the COVID year. Then he comes in and Cohen has the job and you got to sit there and watch that statue all year. Blue and gold game, lost a fight with the staircase. And now this. Tough run. And there's just no easy answer. It's the worst case scenario, you guys. I don't know what the injury is. It might be broken legs, broken arms. I don't know what the injury is, but they said what did they say? But he's got to have surgery and he's out for the year. So it's It's the worst case scenario. It is. Like, I know I exaggerate and I have my, doing stuff for effect. This is your worst case scenario by far. It is. Grade 5 sprain. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Done for the year. Tyler Buchner, man, bad luck. Losing a fight with the stairs. Running around doing the best he can. Like, I feel horrible for the guy. He's trying everything he can do. God, I feel bad for him. So, this is the number one thing. Couldn't happen. Now it's happened. Now my next question is, what do you do now? What do you do now? That's you got big picture problems. You got small picture problems. Small picture, how the hell do you win a game? Like somebody said to me on the call-in show, playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Now you have a new problem. The new problem is your best offense was Tyler Buchner running around making things happen. Now you don't have that. This could get very bad. Very bad. And I'm going to say what I said. I started the morning show. Feels like it was 7 hours ago. What a Monday this is for Notre Dame, guys. I felt like I started the morning show 5 hours ago. But what I said in the morning show was, all right, if it isn't going to be Buchner, because I started that show not knowing, if it was going to have to be Buchner, if Buchner was out, you guys, I thought Angeli looked better than Pine and Buchner in the blue and gold game. I don't know what you're going to do. But this is a very, very bad spot. They're going to run Pine out there. It's like a less athletic version of Tyler Buchner is what you're getting. Less mobile, not as fast, not as big, not as strong of an arm. You're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. You just are. You're going to have problems. CJ needs to reclassify. Is it too late for that? I don't know. But you need it. John, you normally win a big game by scoring more points than the other team. I think we should start there. Savage? That's a very savage idea. Savage idea. Primetime 21. Kelly left knowing he was leaving Indy in a terrible place. Listen, folks. Listen. Here's the deal. Of course Kelly knew. Of course Kelly knew. Who do you think was the architect of all the areas of our organization that aren't where they need to be? Of course Kelly knew. Of course Kelly knew. Kelly got himself backed into a corner in this quarterback position of his own doing. He knew. Kelly was in the position to be able to create a problem and be able to get out, not have to deal with the consequences, though. That's what he was able to do. Kelly, of course Kelly knew. Kelly's the architect of half the problems we have now on the roster. Okay? Prediction, Michael Mayer's going to shut things down. Why would you risk draft stock? Andrew, this sucks. I absolutely hate that Andrew is bringing this up. At the same time, who the hell am I to sit here today and tell Michael Mayer, because he likes Notre Dame, to go out there and get the hell beat out of him and lose his future? It's bad. These are not questions you should be having after week 2. It's just not. These aren't. Talk about melodramatic. Good Lord. Tom, there ain't nothing mellow when I get dramatic. Take that, Tom. There ain't nothing mellow about me when I get dramatic. Stick around. John, this whole situation is Reese's fault. He ran Buchner too much and failed to recruit talent or develop. It's interesting about that. What's interesting about that is going into the season, you knew the offense was probably going to struggle to get going. You knew you were going to need extra help. You knew you were going to have to rely on a running game. You knew you were going to have to rely on Michael Mayer. You knew you were going to have to rely on all that stuff. You don't have any of that stuff. It ain't working. You can't run the ball. You can't run to set up the pass. You can't pass to set up the run, man. You don't got nothing. You don't got nothing. Only hope is that we go 8-4, play Rutgers in the Pinstripe Bowl. 8-4. Where are you getting the 8? Where are you getting the 8? Tell me where that 8's coming from. John, I'm not seeing any emotion from you. I know. I'm really trying to liven up my broadcasts. I don't feel like people see enough genuine reaction. I need to liven it up. Man, oh man, this is rough. Freeman looks like he's been ran over by a truck. Freeman sounds like he's been ran over by a truck. I need you to be the leader, dog. I need you to be the leader. You got the job. Now it's your time to lead. Time to lead. Mike, look at this positivity. Look at this positivity. We have 2 losses. The season's not over. Totally correct. Totally correct. The issue is, though, where are you getting the other wins from? Like that's the struggle here. I don't see what the foundation is from which Notre Dame attempts to build this week. Usually you can lean on something that's working to kind of give you a buoy out in the ocean to hold on to. What is ours? What is ours? What's our buoy? Like what's holding your head above the water here to build off of? 2 Irish brothers beat Cal, start there, find a way. That's what I said about Marshall. That's the issue, right? Like, that's all you can do is find a way. I said that against Marshall too. Like, that's the issue. Once you lose against Marshall at home and you get bullied, I can't trust you. Nobody can. Can't. I can't trust you once you did that. So now we're just in a rough spot. We're in a rough spot. But the mission this week is pride. Pride. That's all you got. That's all you got right now. That's it. That's all you have is your pride. Playing for Notre Dame, playing for home, playing for each other. That's all you got. All your big picture season goals are screwed. Like, there's a lot of stuff going wrong. This is a week about pride. It is. That's all this comes down to against Cal at home. I can't believe we're in this position where I'm going to be driving to the Notre Dame game this week saying, can we beat Cal? But you need to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it looks like this week. It doesn't matter if it's ugly. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. You need a win. This is applying the tourniquet to stop the bleeding enough that you don't die out there in the field. That's what this is. You need to crawl, scrape. You need to pull together anything you could do to win this game. And again, you guys, this is so depressing and humiliating to have to be sitting here talking about how big of a deal it is to get a win against Cal. Unfortunately, you guys, that's just where we're at today. That's just where we're at today. And it should never be there. This shouldn't be where we're at. but that's exactly where we're at. Look at this schedule, folks. You have Cal, and then you have North Carolina, BYU. Now, I know we all don't think North Carolina is that great after what we've seen. We are not in the position. We are not in the position to look at any game on the schedule, count it as a win for Notre Dame right now. We are not in that position. Can't go there, folks. Can't do it. You can't. So, if you don't get the one against Cal, buddy, things are going to get really rough. I mean, it is very, very important. You got to stop the bleeding somehow. Stop it. Where's your pride? You know where else this comes in at this week? Here's where this also comes in. Some of you guys are going to think this is overblown. I do not. Everybody that follows Notre Dame knows you're up against it right now. Every single possible thing that could work against you is working against you right now as Notre Dame. It is us against the world. Everything is going wrong. Who's going to step up in this locker room? You announce those captains and all that. Now's the time we need to see your leadership. Now's the time. I saw Patterson losing his mind after the game. I saw Foskey losing his mind on the sideline during it. Later, I need some leadership. This week is the week. These players have to help out their head coach who has enough problems. These players need to get the other guys ready to go. It's on them this week. Have some pride. Pull it together. Win at home. Stop the bleeding. Where are these leaders? Where are these leaders? I hear it all the time. What these great young men and Notre Dame guys, and they're good people. I love all that. But I need football leaders this week. I need football leaders this week. You have to find out a way to win this game. Drew Pine was just announced as the starter. Doesn't surprise me. That's what we all expected. I just also expect it to look really bad. I just do. Let's see. Patrick likes the move. Let's see what Patrick thinks. He is a D1 quarterback. Drew Pine is not a starting Power 5 high-winning quarterback. He ain't. It's not like me being mean. He does not have the physical gifts to be a high-level elite Power 5 level quarterback. Sorry. He's small. He can't eat. He's tiny. He's small. And if you're going to be that small, you better at least be fast. He's small and not as fast as Buchner. You want to talk about throwing the ball to what receivers? Get it over the line without hitting our guy in the helmet. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. A big part of the reason Buchner got the job over Pine is that mobility, and he just has more of a physical upside potential. Now you don't have that, and you have a bad offensive line and all this stuff. Doug Flutie was small too. Doug Flutie's an anomaly in the history of football. Doug Flutie is an absolute anomaly. That little ant, what he was able to accomplish, and then ruin my ears in the NBC booth on top of it. So, listen, I am not trying to hate on Drew Pine. I want Drew Pine to go out there and be good. But it's the classic next guy up. Everybody wants to say, your guy gets hurt, next guy up. The problem is, I always say this, the next guy up wasn't the first guy in because the people in charge don't think he was as good as the guy who was the first guy up and the first guy in. It's all very not good. here's one thing that I do start to think about. We're talking about this offense, what it needs to look like, Buchner, the play calling, all of it that we talk about. All of it that we talk about. And it's, you guys, I'm struggling today. I can't even think straight. It's just a worst case scenario. I just can't. This guy says, I love watching Notre Dame crumble. Their fans are so cocky. Some of them. I mean, maybe. I don't know who's that cocky. Like, Notre Dame doesn't give us a lot to crow about. So, like, I don't think I'm that cocky. I give respect to Ohio State when they deserve it. I came in here and told Marshall they beat our ass. Great job. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do. Pine throws darts. He did. He threw a dart right to the other team right when he came in the game Saturday. So if that's a dart, he definitely threw it. It was just right to the other guy. Wrong team. But I'm at a loss. So let me get back to when I lost my train of thought here. Now you're in a position where nobody's happy with the offensive line. The wide receiver situation is horrific. Now you have a quarterback issue. What do? What the hell do you do? Like, what do you do? This is a really good point. Cocky Notre Dame fans, most of us are miserable. Damn straight. Who's getting that cocky? I don't understand that. But the question is, what do you do then? What do you do? So, unlike Buchner and Cone last year, where you had Cone as the starter, Buchner as the backup, they had diverging skill sets. I felt that was an issue last year. I felt like that's a part of the reason why, even when Buchner played, I don't feel like he got much out of it or developed that much, because the playbook was set up for Cone's strengths, not Buchner's. That was an issue. Now, at least, Buchner and Pine have similarly overlapping skill sets. The issue is it just doesn't look good no matter who's running it. It just doesn't. Thoughts on Angeli? I'm telling you, of the three quarterbacks in the blue and gold game, I thought Angeli ran the offense calmly and with more confidence than the other two. They just did. I just thought I saw that. Angeli looked calmer. He just did. He just looked a little less stressed out there running things. They're going to go with Pine, fine, but Angeli better be ready. Now, again, I see people saying Angeli isn't good. I see people saying Pine isn't good enough either. That's the point, you guys. That's the point. Everybody's saying that. You're hitting on the main point of the entire discussion, which is Notre Dame's quarterback room is not where it needs to be. It's just not. It ain't. And that's a bigger picture. See, now we're going to get in the weeds. Who do you blame for the current quarterback dynamic? Who do you blame? Reese? Sure. You could blame Reese for some of that. I also blame the guy that's down in the bayou right now, too. Like, there's no doubt Brian Kelly gets a lot of blame for why we're in the position we're in the quarterback room right now. Brian Kelly gets a lot of blame for that, for the lack of elite quarterbacks in the system, elite development of quarterbacks in the system, elite recruiting of elite quarterbacks, retention of those guys. That's Brian Kelly. Here we go. Now we're getting on to something here. Xander Cruz. You can't blame Kelly for everything. 100% correct. You guys aren't listening. You're not listening. You can't blame Kelly for everything. Correct. It is not Kelly's fault that Notre Dame didn't beat Marshall. It is Kelly's fault. The quarterback room isn't good enough. I see you all in the chats. You can't blame Kelly. You can't blame Kelly. It's Kelly's fault Notre Dame does not have elite quarterbacks already in the system. It is. It's Kelly's fault that he did not get engaged enough to recruit enough good quarterbacks that Notre Dame has great depth there. That's Brian Kelly's fault. It is not Brian Kelly's fault that we lost to Marshall. There I draw the line. But one of the ingredients to losing to Marshall, part of it's got to be quarterbacks that aren't proven and ready and elite. There's freshmen out there. There's freshmen out there for teams that make plays. It blows Notre Dame fans' minds. I forget the guy's name, but there was a freshman quarterback Saturday. Lighten it up. All right, it's just like Notre Dame. You can't do that at Notre Dame. You can't have a quarterback come in and play right away and play well. You can't do that. That's crazy. No, it isn't. Other teams do it. Other teams do it. So, excuse me. This is tough, you guys. When you're in this dynamic, it's very tough. I do blame. You got to be smart about this, and you got to be fair. You got to be smart, and you got to be fair. And what I mean by that is you can only blame Kelly for the parts that are really Kelly's fault. When Kelly left to LSU, where the quarterback room was at Notre Dame was not good enough. That's Kelly's fault, but it's now Freeman's problem. Kelly's fault. Freeman's problem. All right? It just is. But am I blaming Kelly for losing to Marshall? No way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. That part isn't on Kelly, but the quarterback room not being where it needs to be is. You need to be smart enough as a fan to be able to navigate both of those facts at the same time because they're both relevant and they both play a role in why we're here. It's Marcus Freeman's fault 100%, not Kelly. Let me ask this then. What did you want Freeman to do? Make the offensive line block better? Like, it's Marcus Freeman's fault 100%, not Kelly. How can you say it's not Kelly's fault that we do not have quarterbacks ready to go play winning football? How? That's where I'm struggling. How is none of this Kelly's fault when we have no established, proven good quarterbacks on the team? How is that not Kelly's fault? How? That is a multi-year error. You end up in the position we're in the quarterback room right now by not doing things right multiple years in a row. Multiple. Here we go. Jason, you have 3 quarterbacks. You have talent. You could beat Marshall. You should be able to beat Marshall whatever you do. You should be able to beat Marshall whatever you do. Whoever you run out there as quarterback, you need to beat Marshall. But I'm saying bigger picture, where the program's at right now, quarterback issue is largely a Kelly issue. It is. It is. Like, I'm not going to stop it. It's a fact. If you're asking me to stop saying facts, no. You're asking me to stop saying facts. No, I'm not going to stop saying a fact. Are you going to tell me Kelly did a good job with the quarterback room? That's what you're going to tell me, Jason? Tell me. Have the balls to tell me Kelly did a good job and left the quarterback room in a good place. Have the balls to type it in. I dare you. Have the balls to type it in. That Kelly did a good job. Do it. Type it in. Type it. Type it. Tell me Kelly left this quarterback room in a healthy spot. Tell me it. Type it in. There you go. Kelly did a really good job at the quarterback spot. Now I know you're trolling me. Now I know you're trolling me. Look at all you guys. You just want to see my head pop right off. I am not blaming this loss on Brian Kelly. I am blaming where he left the quarterback room on Brian Kelly. Xander, you're not addressing the lack of development. It's a huge issue, folks. It's a huge issue. You want to talk about not Kelly's fault with the quarterbacks? Explain this one to me then. The longer quarterbacks played under Kelly, the worse they got statistically. The more starts quarterbacks played under Kelly, the worse their output was. How are you or anybody going to tell me that's development? That's good enough. So it's not his fault we lost to Marshall. It is our fault that the quarterback position is just bad. Okay? So the quarterback coach or OC aren't to blame. They're all to blame. Everybody's to blame. Everything's wrong. It's all bad. This is not pick one thing and it's the problem. And if you fix that one thing, you're good. It's all a problem. It's all a problem. And that's a problem. It's all a problem. Of course the quarterback coach is a problem. Of course the offensive coordinator is a problem. Of course the old recruiting was a problem. Of course Harry coming out of retirement but acting return's a problem. Of course having nobody to throw the ball to is a problem. It's all a problem. It's all a problem. It's all a problem, you guys. This isn't easy. There's a reason I'm dripping sweat. This isn't easy. It's all a problem, you guys. That's the issue. There's no easy fix this week. It's all a problem. The depth is a problem. Motivation's a problem. Pride's a problem. Coaching's a problem. Scheming's a problem. Execution's a problem. It's all a problem. It's all a problem. I am not sitting here like I have the answers. I'm just telling you, I've been sitting here since 8:30 in the morning, and I'm losing it. Let's get things back on track. ND has 3 quarterbacks and talent, and they lost to Marshall. 100% coaching and management. ND hired a coach with 0 experience. Sure. Like, I guess. It's not 100% coaching and management. Better talent would have helped. But it is not Kelly's fault we lost this game. It ain't. I'm not saying that. It isn't. And that's what's so alarming. Because how did this happen? Why did this happen? What message isn't getting through? Why did those guys seem ready to go against Ohio State, but not ready to go at home the next week? This is just a tough one. It's a tough one. Do you guys, some people I feel like they just watch Notre Dame, Look around the country. There are schools on TV that I have never seen play football before, like a school with letters as the name, CSUB, something. I don't even know what school it is. And I'll see their game, and they're whipping the ball around, and their offense, and they're crisscrossing, and they're throwing it. It's like pulling teeth to gain a yard at Notre Dame. It is. But the issue I'm having in this chat right now is everybody wants to identify one thing and say that's the problem. This is all a big stew. It's all a big stew. And all the ingredients being stirred together right now are bad. That's the toughest part of this. It's a big batch of bad stew. And all this negativity and negative things are all in the mix together, getting mixed together. And that's what makes it so hard to fix. Because there isn't just one or two things you could do and solve the issue. And so that's where I'm really, really struggling. I got to find that footing. What can we rely on? What can we build on? Struggling today. Been a long morning for the Always Irish show. 2 hours of the call-in show. And then I say, I'm going to get off so I can tune in and see what Marcus says. And then Tyler, and then I'm back. It's going to be a long week for your boy, folks. Going to be a long week. John, move on. Put Kelly behind you. Freeman needs to get this back on track. Told you it'd take 3 years, lose 4 games. I mean, if you ended up 8-4 out of this mess, beautiful. Like where you're at right now, if you ended up 8-4, I could live with that. Freeman needs to get it back on track. Yeah, no doubt. Life got real for Marcus, and it got real hard and real tough, real fast. You got to win a game. Win a game, please. I don't know if I have the voice to make this a daily show. I already got the radio show 4 days a week. You guys are going to give me a stroke on the air. On the air, you're going to give me a stroke. Oh, Jesus. Dogs on top. I guess since dogs on top, I mean, life's easy right now if you're a Georgia fan. Sit there and watch this leprechaun lose his mind while you relax. Go ahead. Good morning to you. Our only hope is the quarterback change sparks something, and the fact that we've been winning so much lately but still don't have the depth is mind-boggling. It really is. Have you guys ever think about how much Kelly did win? I'm the first one to rip him for big game performances, never beating the best teams we play, all that. Think about it, though. All those wins Kelly has, 10-plus wins the last 5 years, all of that. What would this look like if Notre Dame had a proven elite quarterback for any of this stretch? Kaiser was probably the closest you could get. At least he had a real big arm. But look at how close Notre Dame has gotten without an elite quarterback or a good quarterback room. Wow. Imagine what it'd be like if you had a truly elite guy. A truly elite guy. 100% Freeman's fault. Again. The bulk of this is obviously Freeman's fault. But it can't be 100%. Here's what I'll say. For somebody to say 100% Freeman's fault, I will only agree with that when we're far enough years down the track that Brian Kelly's players are no longer on this program. Then everything is 100% Freeman's fault. Like, we all want to be mad. We only have 3 wide receivers. Nobody, we don't have any wide receiver. How could you're saying it's 100% Freeman's fault. We're getting not good enough production from the wide receivers. Is that Freeman's fault? Is the bad recruiting before Freeman was even working at Notre Dame his fault? Can't be 100%. That's too easy to just throw 100%. This is a multivariate equation with a bunch of ingredients, and the ingredients all taste like shit. John, it start with the coach, it ends with the coach. Stop it now. Your thinking is the reason Notre Dame hasn't won a title in 30 years. Your thinking is very short-sighted. John, wait a second. It starts with the coach and it ends with the coach. You're right, it does. So when Kelly was the coach, I expected him to recruit well enough that Notre Dame had good wide receivers and good quarterbacks. Right, Jason? Right, Jason? If it starts with the coach and ends with the coach, the guy who was the last coach should have had those position groups ready to play at a good level, right? Right? Come on. If it all starts with the coach and it ends with the coach, then you have to say that about the last one that left us with unproven quarterback play and no wide receivers. Like, I'm all for blaming Freeman, but I'm not letting Kelly off the hook for the roster issues that are causing some, not all, some of our problems. Some. But you guys have to be better about letting me put some portion of the talent part of this on Kelly without saying you're blaming everything on Kelly. Be smart enough to see that difference. I'm not blaming Kelly for this loss. I am blaming him for the lack of talent in certain areas. That is so fair. I can't believe people don't think that's fair. You act like when Kelly left, all the scholarships were gone, and then Freeman started it all with 100 new guys. You can't. You can't look at it that way. It is fair to acknowledge Freeman's doing a bad job so far. And some of the roster he inherited was also a problem. Fair. How is that not totally fair? Totally fair. Now, we're not doomed. Maybe we're doomed short term. Maybe. I see a chat that's hilarious here, Robin, but I ain't even going to put it up because I don't need any more problems this week than I already have. Good question, John. How do you think this will affect the other players' morale? Huge question of the week, right? Isn't that the question of the week now? Like, this is some heavy bad news. Even if you lost this game, but they said, oh, Tyler Buchner's good to go, it would still be bad enough. How do these guys respond now? That's why I said you need your player leadership to really step up this week. You do. You need those guys to say, this is not good enough. This is not happening. We are going to will ourselves to win Saturday, because you have to. You just have to. John, will our recruiting cycle implode? I would like to think most of it'll be okay, but it's a fair question to ask. I can't tell people that's not fair to be worried about. It is. You would like to think a lot of these guys love Notre Dame for the right reasons, but there's no way, you can't deny it. This hurts recruiting. It's a bad look. It's hard to recruit over. When Freeman was asked about his offensive identity, Freeman responded, ask Tommy. That's dangerous, Jason. I disagree with you on some stuff. I agree with you on this one. See, that's how it works. We don't have to agree on everything. I agree with you on some, disagree on others. This is a fair point. Jason, I'm glad you brought it up. That's a fair point. I get it. Freeman's a defensive guy, defensive player, defensive coach, defensive coordinator. Seems like he handed that offense off to Tommy and said, you and Ari, go do what you're going to do. That ain't working. That ain't working. So that's where this gets very tough. Under Kelly, yeah, I'm going to complain about his offenses, but he was an offensive guy. He was an offensive guy. So now you have a defensive guy in charge, already short on experience, handing the keys over to Tommy. And it ain't going right. It ain't going right. Now you got issues. Who jumps in and starts fixing that? Jason, very fair point. Another one. Telling you, we could disagree, but when you have a good point, I'm putting it up too, Jason. That's how this works. Who's making the second half adjustments? Nobody or somebody whose goal it is to make us look worse instead of better. Okay? These adjustments, there are none. Again, if you want to blame Freeman for a lot of this, there you go. Here's your angle. Totally agree. The adjustments are poor. They're either non-existent or the wrong ones. All right? Man, that has been one of my biggest indictments of Reese. There's no pivot. There's no pivot. There's no adjustment. And especially when I'm told that this guy's biggest attribute is his brain. It offends me that there's no adjustments. Both of these games this year, going back to the bowl game, whatever we're looking at halftime is pointless. We look worse, not better, worse. Where are the adjustments? Where are the pivots? I'm going to tell you one thing this week. Do you expect? I kind of do. They're going to have Pine out there, even when it was Buchner. Oh, new quarterback, got to be kind of conservative. Now you have Pine, that's probably doubled up. What's their offense going to be? Are they going to figure, well, we don't want to make Pine throw it around. We better try and power run the ball again. Are they going to do that? Cal's got a pretty good defense. Cal's offense, say what you want. Cal's, I talked about this on my radio show this morning. Cal's got a good defense. Even, check this out. Cal's got a very good defensive staff. They have a very good defensive staff. And I think Cal's going to sit there. They might not be able to score on Notre Dame, but I think they think they're going to be able to hold Notre Dame down. And who am I to disagree from where I sit today? It's wild to me that he can't get any of the playmakers the ball out in space. I'm amazed by that too. I am. It hurts. It hurts, man. Because it's like, here's what I said this morning. Mikey, good point. What I said this morning is, okay, man, you got offensive line concerns and you thought they were going to be a positive and now they're a concern. That's rough, okay? Wide receiver room, not good. That's rough. Offensive line, you thought would be good. Now they're not. Now you got the quarterback issues. The best thing you could do now is everything's working against you. Nothing you want to do on offense worked. Buchner running around or Mayer getting open were the only two plays last week. You got to get the playmakers. You do have the ball any way you can. Any way you can from now on. You have to. You're in a position where you can't rely on the offensive line to provide you that engine. So you need to get the ball to Tyree in space any way you can. Pitch it, end arounds, handoffs, passes, styles. Got to get him the ball more in space any way you can. Any way you can. Keep using Mayer any way you can. Now more than ever, you need to scheme to get the ball to those guys as much as you can. That's your only offense. It hurts me, but that's your only offense. Tommy Reese, here's what I see. And I saw this with Buchner before the injury. Tommy Reese seems to be scheming and planning for the offense he wants Notre Dame to be, while ignoring the offense he has in the moment. That's what I've been seeing. He wants to be a power run first team, but you can't gain a yard on Marshall. So Tommy's struggling with what he wants this to be versus where it is now and what could move the ball now. And those are issues. Those are issues. Oh, man. I am struggling. I need to leave and go to the bar. My word. What is wrong with the O-line? Why are they so bad? Don't make me go off on my Harry rant again. Don't do it to me, Harry. Don't do it to me. Oh, we're bringing Harry out of retirement. Harry didn't like Reese. That's why he went to the Bears. But he still kept his residence in South Bend. Harry, don't do this to me, Harry. I need you. I need this group to just move people. O-line you. Drake. Xanax would probably be a bad idea for me. Do you really think it'd be a good idea to give me pharmaceuticals? You want to give me some pills and then have me do this show? I've had people ask, John, what do you take to get ready when you go do all this? It's called the drug of waking up and being me and having all these messed up thoughts rattling around. I'm losing it today. Absolutely losing it. This, folks, this is going to be a long year. This is going to be a long year. There's just no easy answers. Guys, there's problems everywhere. There's problems everywhere. There's problems all over, man. Offense, defense, you got problems. I'm struggling. Does anybody want to put in the chat? Honestly, knowing our situation, how would you approach the offense this week? How would you approach the offense? With no wide receiver play? Offensive line that can't move anybody? New quarterback after the new quarterback that just got broken in half. What would you do? What would you do? Pray? Listen, do you know how many times I've dropped a prayer candle at the grotto and it still went sideways on me? Where are you, God? What else? I had a super chat somewhere I got to get to. My word, I'm losing my mind. I don't know, folks. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. I said I had to go to the bar. Use this super chat to buy yourself a beer. Do you think this loss will deflate the team or light a fire to play mad? Drew, class of 22. Thanks, I appreciate that. Here's the thing, man. Drew for 22. I want him to be a lot better than I think. I do. I want Drew Pine to play great. I'm just worried that there isn't an infrastructure in place to allow it. That's all. Jacob, I mean, you're asking. I'm going to highlight that, go back to it. This is the question of the day, folks. Do you think this loss will deflate the team or light a fire? I don't know. But couldn't I ask that about last week too? Like, that's where I have a trouble with that. It's like, well, something bad happened. Now we got to wake up. Shouldn't that have been what last week was? That's why I'm getting scared. Week 1 should have been that. We lost. Now we're pissed off. So we're going to go home and we're going to win. That's what last week was for. But you didn't do it. So now I'm very concerned. It's not okay, folks. It's not okay. Oh my God, I'm going to have a stroke on the air. Old Ben, $10 super chat. Now I could get a couple beers for lunch. I know patience is hard. To be truthful, the season's over. All Freeman can do is be creative from here and find out what works for him and his identity. Try new things. It's a test year. Old Ben, I struggle with this. I really do. And let me explain why. Here's why I struggle with this approach. Because you got to try and do two things at once. Your big picture season's goals are over. They're over. Notre Dame's not making a playoff. If you have 2 wins after 2 weeks, you're probably not making a New Year's 6. After that, I don't care. So your big picture, national, claim your respect goals are down the toilet. So then I logically say, well, the next best thing you could do then is play your young guys and get ready for the next time you are competitive. Work out the kinks, get the freshman mistakes done, get all that learning curve out of the way. If it ends up with a bunch of mistakes and you lose a few games, who cares? Now is about how you look and what you do. All your goals are ruined. But the point is, you can't just tank, play all freshmen, and go into next year. College football doesn't allow for that. So you can't just burn it all down, play all the young guys, take a bunch of losses. Because it's not the NFL. Perception matters. So you can't just tank and then start over. This is just an absolute worst case dynamic. Now, you got to get your young guys experience and you have to show accountability for the older guys that aren't playing well. But you also have to protect the integrity of the program's reputation right now. And you have to protect this recruiting class. So you can't just tank for the stank. My word. I don't feel well. Jesus. Life shouldn't be that stressful. If this is my show 2 weeks in, by week 10, I'm going to be doing the show from a casket. My word. Woo! Matt Miller, Matt with 1 T, but a lot of do-re-mi, throwing the $100 super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. My word, I could buy a lot of Monday afternoon beers with that. Have ourselves a lively show this evening. But Matt, $100 for this. I really appreciate you, man. You have no idea how much that means. That $100 pays for the phone lines for the foreseeable future. So everybody who likes those, people like Matt, make it happen. Appreciate you. Love your content. Keep the faith. Better days ahead. There will be better days ahead, Notre Dame fans, Notre Dame folks. I am in no way, shape, or form at all. No, I am not ready to throw up the white flag on Freeman like no chance, over his head, never going to figure it out. No, absolutely not. I'm not going there. Now is not an appropriate time to go there. But it is fair to question a lot. Things don't look good, and it's fair to question a lot. But I am not ready to throw the towel in on Marcus. No. Nope. There's too many good things there that I could still see through the forest that's currently on fire and burning for me to just throw away Marcus. I can't do it. I can't do it. Somebody in the chat, recruits scattering like cockroaches. You better hope not. Better hope not. But you know, the one thing I did say with this recruiting and Freeman and all that, when it was going very well late summer, I was saying the only thing that could really totally burn down all of those Freeman vibes and the recruiting momentum he had midsummer, I was saying on record, the only thing that could put all that in jeopardy is if you go play really bad and have a really bad year and lose a handful of games. Because as good as Marcus is, you can't out-recruit results. You can't out-talk results. You can't outdress facts. That's an issue. So I was on record in the preseason saying he needed to avoid a catastrophically horrific year. Now you might be in one. Sorry, you might be. It's bad. It's rough, folks. People are saying there's no doubt Freeman is in over his head. Listen, while I hold out hope that that is not true, based on what we've seen right now, I can't tell you you're totally wrong. He hasn't won a game. He hasn't won a game. So this is just where we're at this week. This is just where we're at. It's where we're at this week. So I am not ready to personally write Freeman off as being in over his head. But he has not won a game yet at Notre Dame. So I am not in a position to question anything. I can't. You can't not win a game and then this is a bad spot. We're in a bad spot. This is, it's not ideal. Oh, let's see what else we have here. John will be calling Urban. I think the Urban ship has sailed. I just do. I just think that Urban thing's kind of sailed. I just do. Plus, he's kind of a creep, anyways, just as a guy. I know that's never stopped anybody from hiring a college football coach. Craig, thanks for the $2. I think we go 4-8, 3-9. Prove me wrong. Well, 2-10 would prove you wrong. I don't think that's what you had in mind. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. And when I say anything's possible in the terms of this discussion, when I mean anything bad. It's all possible. Notre Dame can lose to any team they play. The way we played, when I know you're capable of being that bad, you could lose to anybody on the schedule. Oh my gosh, this is tough. This show's great. Want it to be around a long time. Matt, I mean, that's just very generous. I really appreciate it. That means a lot. That creators like me who do this rely on people like you to keep it going, pay for the technology. Really appreciate it. Can't tell you enough how much it means. Always Irish, live from the casket cam. Can they let me bring my microphone down there? I can at least yell. Man, this is tough. It's just tough stuff. Freeman is the DC for App State next year. There you go. Reese should have gone with Kelly because he can't seem to function without him. I don't know, man. I don't know. But this offense, they don't do anything well. They don't. They don't do anything good. That's what I mean when I say, where do you even start this week? They don't do anything. They can't run to set up the pass, and they can't pass to set up the run, which means you're starting from scratch with the new quarterback, by the way. It's just rough, man. It's just rough. Oh, my word. Here's something to think about. When I said that Notre Dame should hire an older coach as a consultant like Cutcliffe to consult with Tommy, you got laughed at. How about now? I can't argue with this because the way you look at it is you kind of look at Al Golden as the old, reliable go-to guy on the defense. But you're right. On the offense, it was just kind of Tommy knows what he's doing. It's all Tommy's. And then you have Harry doing a Harry's part. But I think that actually what it's going to look like is Tommy. So I think it's perfectly fair to now ask, is it a detriment you don't have that reliable guy on the offensive side that's older with that experience you could go to? It's all fair right now. It's all fair. It's all fair to ask. Notre Dame has had too many rebuilds. I mean, we're right alongside Louisville for program nosedives and rebuilds. It's just rough. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. It's tough. But do you know how hard it is to get on a level where you never have to come down at all? You know, like an Alabama recruiting level where even your down years are borderline elite. Even your down years, you're making the playoff, but maybe you won't win it, but you'll make it in your down years. Woo! It's a lot of good recruiting, man. It's a lot of good recruiting. Man, I'm seeing some stuff in the chat. You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong for some of this. I'm not even going to repeat it. You're wrong. Kenny, John, I love your show. God, country, Notre Dame. We'll overcome like how we always do. Kenny, we need a little positivity on a day like this. We do. Thanks for that. We need it. I need it. Oh, man. Whew, it's rough. When was the last time Notre Dame had a good offense? 2015. Kaiser, right? Isn't that the answer? 2015, Kaiser, I think. And then the issue was the defense let you down. So you can never get it all right for Notre Dame. If you get one, you're going to lose on the other. Wouldn't that be it? The last good offense? Or am I missing a year? 1993. Oh, God. Man, we are all grasping for straws this week. I saw a bunch of lazy route running. I saw a lot of stuff I didn't like. I saw bad blitz pickups from the backs, route running. Nobody gets separation. Rough. 2-10. I'm going into rehab. Well, I hope you get the internet in there because you could still listen to me. Oh my gosh, you hate Lindsey. Burt Reynolds, that's mean. How could you hate somebody from the grave? He's just frustrating. Lindsey's been a frustration his entire career. You look at the raw speed when that guy is healthy and you say to yourself, we should be able to get more out of this. And we just never have, never do. Frustrating for sure. I'm done with Freeman. I've seen enough. Time to make decisions quickly. Even there is a segment of the fan base that agrees with this. I'm just telling you, even if you want that, I don't think it's on the table. Like, even to those that do want this, I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's a realistic outcome here. I just don't. I think Pine's very underrated. You better hope so. You better hope you're right. Because we need to see it. So, fine. But you better hope you're right. But the one thing I know is he has less naturally gifted physical skills than the guy that just got hurt. That concerns me. Just does. Chris Peterson's a religious man. Turned down USC. Thank God he did that. Come to Notre Dame for the right money. Man, a lot of people are off Freeman early. A lot of people are off Freeman early. I just can't yet. I can't yet. Bob Kelly, $5 super sticker. Thanks. Bob Kelly's probably Brian Kelly's fourth cousin. Coming in here just to see how mad John gets. Have a laugh at my expense. Is fitness an issue? D looked tired in the first quarter. Here's what's interesting about that. Very interesting about that. I thought this too. But if you're seeing guys tired in a first quarter, then I think you look at a little bit of what happened last week. I am open to the idea that you were physically a little beat up after playing Ohio State. I'm open to that. I am. But not enough that you're in a game and then lose to Marshall. So it could all be true, but there are levels to this shit. I acknowledge physically tough game. I could understand you dragging a little bit into the next game. Not enough to justify losing to that team. No. No, absolutely not. And the other thing is, with this, your defense is going to start looking tired when your offense cannot sustain drives and score. All that does is put your defense out there 24/7. How could you live like that? How could you live like that? Tough. So, that defense, rough. Oh my God. John's going to be the crypt keeper too soon. Tales from the always Irish casket. Let's hope not, but I can't guarantee it. Irish John, we will rise from these ashes. Marcus will be greatly improved. Hope so. Need it to be so. What else do we have here? He has no experience. Why trust him? I guess that's fair. Oh, my word. The run D is going to get exposed all season. That's an issue. That's an issue that should concern everybody, particularly because we were counting on that area to be a strength, and it ain't. It was supposed to be a strength, and it's not. Big issue. So, I don't know, but it's rough. What does this say? John, you look tired. Take a nap. Hey, I'm not going to lie. It's been a very rough weekend for me. Very rough weekend. And a lot of content on top of it. And when the content's really heavy and intense, it's just rough. It'll wear you out. But this is 3.5, almost 4 hours of live YouTube time right around before noon on a Monday. It's a lot. So with that being said, I have to get going. It's almost 1 and I have somewhere I'm supposed to be, but emergency news broke. So Jason, thank you. I'm going to get out of here, try and get my voice back because I have stuff to record tonight to post for tomorrow. So got to rest the voice a little bit. Hang in there, Notre Dame folks. Hang in there. And do understand there are more important things in the world than Notre Dame football. I realize it was the anniversary of 9/11. Like, there's some tough stuff going on in the world. Keep that perspective. But at the same time, it's okay to be mad and be worried about this. There are issues. So thank you for joining me. Stay tuned because we're going to have a lot more content the rest of the week. Go Irish.